Wow, guys. What happened? Like, what? I didn't know all you guys were out there. I'm just catching up now. It's Saturday morning, and I put that post up. I cross-posted that onto our D&D on Reddit, and yeah, since then, I've been talking to a lot of people who are excited about Terraino. I got a lot of good questions. It's been crazy. I'm rounding 1,000 subscribers on YouTube right now. I've been saying hi to a lot of new Patreon members. Folks who are supporting me through GameGearMaster.com. Just to give you an idea how big of a change this is, the first 2 years of Terraino, that was, this amount of people who had gotten the manuals. The total amount of people who downloaded the manuals doubled in the first 3 hours of that post. And then in the next 6 hours, it doubled again. So we're rounding, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. We might be close to 1,000 now, people who have taken the plunge into Terraino. At the very least, download the manual. So for that, I can't tell you what that's like when when you put your heart and soul into something that you really love and you really think is amazing. When other people start acting like or responding to it in a positive way, it's just, I'm still numb. Like, I don't know what to do with this information. But I wanted to make this video because I wanted to clear up some stuff, some questions that I saw over and over again, and some confusion, because this video that I put out was just like this little goofy thing. It's like a time lapse of me, building the tavern. So, it leaves a lot of questions unanswered. So I have a little list here. First of all, thank you for everybody who came and got in touch. I got tons of really wonderful comments like this. I got some great private messages from folks. I got messages from a guy this morning who was going out to go buy some foam board and get started this weekend. So I'm like, that's awesome. So anyway, let me go through this list. Some of the stuff is going to be just me talking. A lot of it's going to be working with the model, because I had some questions around that too. So the first thing I want to talk about is Ready Board. This is the magic ingredient in crafting Terraino. You can tell it's Ready Board because it has this sticker on it. You can get it at Dollar Trees all across the country in Canada. I don't know if there's a local brick and mortar source outside of the USA and Canada, but I do know that there are links to get it from my site, GameGearMaster.com, underneath every single video for Terraino. Unfortunately, it's more expensive online. There's not a lot I can do about that, but I will say if somebody out there finds a better source than the one that I have linked, that, by the way, that's the link to buy it on Amazon, send it my way and I'll add it to all the videos and to all the pages for Terraino so everybody can benefit from that. So the one thing with this is sometimes, I don't know if it's because it's sitting around a long time and just sort of not moving in stock at Dollar Tree, but sometimes the paper can be tough to get off. This is an occurrence I had a couple times. Actually, no, I had it once, but with a few sheets. And I had a user get in touch with me yesterday asking about it too. I will say, if you have the choice between getting the black foam core Ready Board or the white, get the black. The paper's always easier to get off if it's the black paper. And when you're in the store, kind of test it to see how it peels off. If it comes off reasonably easy, then it shouldn't be a big deal to get all the paper off. So I usually just kind of do a corner. And then it's just basically about getting it started. And it will tear a little bit like this, we'll see. But you should be able to get pretty big chunks off, like that. And then I usually just grab where it stops. Sometimes you can go super fast with this. Sometimes you just gotta go a little slower. This one I gotta go a little slower with. But yeah, you just sort of peel it off. So I think this piece has probably been laying around a while because it seems like it's a little stickier than normal. And that makes sense because I bought 2 giant boxes of foam a while back. I'm still working through them. Now, the other thing I will suggest too is, because I didn't do this, I would suggest when you get the foam after you buy it, just peel the paper off right after you buy it, because that way you're sure it won't change and get more difficult later. As you can see, like this stuff has been laying around for a while, and this is on the difficult end of the spectrum to get it off. You can still see it's not terrible. So I had another user ask me about should I take the paper off on both sides, even if this is going to be my grid tile and I'm just going to put cardboard on the top here. Well, you can already see I literally just took that off, and you see how it's starting to curl? Well, if you take off the back side, then this foam will degas evenly on both sides, which will leave it flatter. Also, when you're storing it, after you peel off your foam and you see that it's starting to cup up like this, turn it over to store it. And sometimes I'll just put a book on top too to kind of keep it flattened. So when you're ready to use it, it'll be nice and flat and ready to go. Usually what will happen too is even if you don't wait for it to uncurl, by the time you do everything to it, it's relaxed enough that it'll be flat again. For instance, like this here had a little bit of curl into it at one point when I was building it, but now it's been sitting out so long that it just has relaxed and flattened out. So that's it on the foam core. Get rid of all this stuff here. Also, I want to make it clear that Terraino is something that you craft. It's not a kit that you buy, but basically what you can do is you can get started for free with the free Basics Construction Manual. You can go get like, $5 or $10 worth of foam, a hot glue gun for a few dollars, a ruler, and some white glue, some white craft glue. Outside of that, there's some other things I didn't bother listing because I figure everybody has it, like scissors, pencils, that kind of stuff. To do the roofs, you'll need masking tape, but you can get masking tape rolls from the Dollar Tree for $1, and those are the ones that I use. They're great for this because they're nice. They're almost white, so they paint up really well. And also, there's cardstock used for the flashing pieces here on the roofs, and that basically is cereal boxes. That's what I use. Basically, any cardboard packaging that is not corrugated will work, but you can also buy chipboard, and I have links to chipboard on each of the roof and rafters videos for Terraino, so you can go check those out as well. Outside of that, let's see. Yeah, I did mention if you want to get started, you have no obligation to buy anything. You can just download the free Terraino Basics Construction Manual from GameGearMaster.com or Terraino.com. They both go to the same place. And you can just take a look, read it and see what you think. If you have any questions, feel free to chat me up. What else do we have? So how to stay up to date. Some folks were saying, like, I really love this. I don't have time to do it now, but I'm going to try to keep up with what you're doing. Where should I do that? And I was like, well, the best way probably is either YouTube. YouTube.com/GameGearMaster is my channel. You can also hit me up on Instagram. It's GameGearMaster. Twitter, GameGearMaster1, I think. I'll leave the links here on the side so you'll see them all. You can go to you can also do look, if you want to support me on Patreon, that's great too. Patreon.com/GameGearMaster. I super appreciate that. You guys will get Patreon members get all the videos first, except for this one, because I really want to get this one out. We talk internally over Patreon. There's other member rewards, there's behind the scenes stuff. So check that out. Also, larger, higher levels, you get free coffee mug, free shirt, that kind of stuff. So check that out if that's something that interests you. One caveat to that right now, I am working on international shipping. I'm having an issue with that on my site. I should have that fixed by the time this video is live. If not, I apologize. Just message me and I will figure it out for you. Okay, so I also had the question going, I don't know if I want to do this kind of thing. It seems like a lot of work. I would just rather use a whiteboard. I'll just use theater of the mind. And to that I say, absolutely. Terraino is one tool in my DM's toolbox. That doesn't mean that I've thrown all the other ones out. I still use other things when they're more appropriate. In fact, you can see here I have a battle mat down. And that's something I'm going to use in my next session. The DM that is going to be guesting here later today, he mostly does theater of the mind, or he'll do the battle mat. But for instance, in his game, we're doing Dragon Heist. We do have a Terraino set up for the Troll Skull Manor Tavern right now. And after I'm done recording these videos, I'm going to take this apart and actually make Skull. I'm actually going to make the Troll Skull Manor, the entire thing, out of this. Because we're all really kind of excited about that aspect of the game. So what we do is I leave the Troll Skull Manor Tavern set up, and then we spend a lot of playtime there because that has become a focal point of our campaign. Now, something like this large tavern here, I wouldn't bother building it for the beginning of an adventure where I say you start out in a tavern, and then all the players go, okay, well, let's go shopping. I would do that if there was a good chunk of story that we were going to be eating through that involved being in this tavern. For instance, I built this. I based it loosely on the Blue Water Inn from Curse of Strahd, but then I added this entire sort of attic area where there's a secret temple. So I could actually run it as this tavern mystery kind of a thing, where you start out and having the party gathered in the tavern, and your adventure actually is in the tavern. I'm going to go over a little bit about how that would work in practical ways with this in just a second. When would I not use it? I wouldn't use it if for things like very spontaneous things that happen at the table. For instance, I've planned this entire thing in town, but my players want to go explore that cave over there. Well, I mean, I could sit there and spend some time setting up Terraino. I'll probably use a basic set for that. Terraino Basics and kind of flesh out a cave system. But in reality, there's not a lot of value to the player in that because, first of all, the player knows I wasn't prepared for it, so I'm making this up on the fly. So that terrain doesn't have a lot of value because it's not like it's illustrating something that has importance to what's going to occur. So I would probably just literally draw that out, or I theater of the mind it. I think Terraino is great also in situations where you have a big boss fight, for instance, or it's like a big sort of high point in your campaign that you know no matter what happens is going to be gotten to. For instance, if they have to go get a relic from a cult somewhere, they're going to have an altercation inside that temple somewhere. So I would build the cult's temple, and because I'm 99% sure that they are going to get there because the relic is in the temple. So now, granted, they may be in there and they may be really smart and they may make it a 10-minute encounter that I can't control. But I will say also, in having a situation where you don't have Terraino on the table for a lot of your campaign and then all of a sudden you pull it out, that makes your players wake up because they go, oh, this is something important. And I actually notice I have couches where people sit. Most people kind of sit and lay back and stuff. And then the minute I pull it out, they're up and they're inspecting and they are actively engaged in the game. The folks that may sometimes be at the table on their phone, they put their phones away and they look at the game. They look at what they're doing. So subconsciously, I think players know that once I pull out Terraino, this setup, first of all, it's visually engaging to them, and they know that it's an important high point in the campaign. So I think for that, it has a lot of value. People are talking about, it's like, well, you know, it's just paying an extra setup and whatever else. I guess it depends how you look at it. I come from the world of Lego. I love sitting and putting Lego together. I love starting on building something with Lego and not knowing where it's going to end up. It's kind of fun. But also, I don't build things while my players are at the table. I build things and put them aside. That is the one thing that I'm going to get into with Terraino that makes it a lot different from other terrain systems. It's portable. Like, you can lift it up off your table, put it on a shelf, put it back, self-contained. So we'll get to that in a second as well. Let's see what else. Well, you know, actually, I think that's about it. Oh, I will say, if you have more questions, please put them in the comments for this video. I plan to do this regularly often if there are a lot of questions that I don't answer or I haven't been able to answer. So just put them in the comments and I will make another one of these videos. So anyway, let's get to this. So let's talk a little bit about how I would use this in a setting. The first question I had was from people when I get this, that I understand. They go, well, I mean, you'd have to take the entire thing apart because your party's obviously going to start on the first floor. And that's true. They probably will. Or they may scale up to the second floor. Hold on, players do crazy things. But the nice thing about this is that is not an issue. So let me show you why. So first of all, what I would do is this would sit somewhere on the side, and I would pull it out when they got to the tavern. So then I'd say, okay, well, guys, just give me a second. Let me get this. And I would take it and I'd put it on the table. just like that. Now, I will be the first to admit, this is the biggest piece of Terraino that I've probably ever used at the table. This is the the Death Star Lego kit equivalent of Terraino. This is the worst case / best case scenario for Terraino. This shows sort of the extremes of it. So that's why this is big and large and whatever else. I don't think most people would have any kind of Terraino setup this big. They may have a single story one that takes up the entire table. I've done that before. But I just want to say that right now. But let's say this is what we're going to be playing with. So I put this on the table. My players can sort of look around, explore. And I also had a question. It's like, well, what would you do if you had a player that decided to climb up to the second floor and look in? Would you take the entire thing apart? It's like, no, I wouldn't. I would wait until they committed to going into the building. What I would say is when they peek through the window, I would describe that room or what they're looking at. And that would be something that I would use to entice them to get into the building. I'm not going to give them the view of the interior until they commit. Anyway, so let's say they go in on the first floor. Well, that means I got to take the second floor off at least, and also the roof. So what you want to do is you grab it by the grid tile that holds everything together. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually take this off first. Here, let's take off the roof first. So we'll put that over here. And just so you know, what I would do is I take these off. The second floor is in 2 sections. Now, let's say they walk in from the front door. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the front half of the second floor. And why do I want to do that? Well, because they're going to be in this main room here, and I like to keep this balcony open because let's say there was a fight here. This balcony makes it a lot of fun. To have basically this high ground for the players or for the bad guys, who knows. And what I would also say is the area back here is out of play. If you go back there, then you're out of play. Basically, or I would say you can't go back there. I'm the DM, my rules go. So sometimes you gotta sort of bow to what's practical. And I think that's fair. I think that's fine. I think it's worth the fun aspect of actually playing in a literal viewable space like this. But let's say there's a second altercation somewhere where somebody does run back there and gets chased by a goblin, let's say. So we're going to have 2 simultaneous things happen at the same time. Well, then I would take this off. So now we can actually look back there as well. These players up here, they already know that this is a balcony because when they walked in, this is on top. So they will be smart enough to know if they stand there, they can shoot from here down. But this is an extreme case, and I don't think I've had that kind of an issue before. And also, they could go all the way back into the barn section, which is fine. They can do that too. So now you have the entire first floor exposed, and you have the play space open. So let's say you have players that maybe, for whatever reason, just feel like they can't see what's going on well enough. That's okay. You can just take out little bits here and there and just put it back later. I've done that in certain sections. You'll see when I show you the top section there that I do that a lot on the upper section here. But it's pretty easy to do that. I haven't really seen that issue that much, but I can also understand if you're in a different setup than I am, where you have a more oblique view to the table, that might be an issue. But honestly, I think my table is actually sort of not a great scenario because people sit on couches, so they're sitting down about where I am now. And most people, I think, sit at a table. So I think this is actually would be better at a regular table. So anyway, so let me show you the upstairs, the attic section that I added. Somebody was asking, how do you get up there? It's like, well, there is actually going to be a trapdoor in the ceiling, which is why you don't see any stairs up to there. Because it would be one of those things that it would not be readily apparent, how to get up there, because it's sort of secret, right? So now for this one, I would definitely say, if you're playing in the top here, first of all, what I would probably do is I would probably take this off the table, because once they're up there, they're going to stay up there. Because that would sort of be a large climactic encounter in the entire campaign, probably, or in the entire adventure. But you can see that this one's going to be hard to see in there, right? Because you have this sort of deep cavern in there. But it is a really cool thing to show what it looks like. Have people go in there, look at that, and then have them stare at it. And then when you start play, you just take the sides off. Which It's relatively easy to do. You can kind of do it in big chunks. And you can also take these bits off here. Let's go like this here. And if you want, you can take these out of here. I will probably just take the top layer out so people know that there's rafters that are in the way. So basically, yeah, you're going to have to take some stuff apart for this. And that's the reality of it. But I think it's worth it for the initial impact to show, wow, you got this really cool space. And then you take away the things you need to play in the space. Like, I would probably leave it kind of the way it was until a fight broke out. Because I think there's something kind of cool about just leaving it that way and just having sort of like this little kind of cool diorama right there on the table. And I left this actually out of play just because, I don't know, I didn't really feel like doing it. Did I do anything there? I think I might have, actually, now I think about it. Oh, I used to actually have a doorway through there. This time when I built it, I didn't put it in there. But as you can see, so then, you know, that's pretty much it. And then when you want to put it all back together, you just sort of put it back together. Yeah, so I am going to do a video on I'll think I'm going to do like a real-time video on how long this took to build, like assemble the pieces. And I'll do that at a later time. I may do it as a live stream, but I've had some serious internet connections lately. Thanks, Spectrum. So I may not do it as a live stream. I haven't really decided yet. It just kind of all depends on if they can get my issues fixed by Wednesday. So anyway, on that note, I hope this was more informative for you. If you have any other questions, like I said, please don't hesitate to ask. I would love to have a reason to talk to all you guys. And I would also love to see what you guys are doing with Terraino. I am super excited. Oh, by the way, special shout out to my new friend who is trying to 3D print some Terraino-like pieces. Yeah, that's really cool. Like he jumped on that the other day, and he's doing some cool work. And I wish him well. Anyway, so more on that and other things. Don't forget to stay in touch. GameGearMaster.com, YouTube.com/GameGearMaster. If you want to support me, the best way is Patreon. Next best is go get some stuff on my site. You can get a cool shirt, or you can get whatever you want. You can also get some cool stuff as part of your Patreon membership. Mugs, t-shirts, that kind of stuff. So until next time, thank you so much. I think at last look, when I was looking at the upvotes on everything, it was up to about 12,000 or something on Reddit, and another almost 1,000 on the D&D DIY version of the post, and I'm up to like 7,000 or 8,000 views on Facebook now. So it's just been insane. I know that's not a lot in the world of the internet, but for my little venture here and my little crazy project, it is insane how much that means to me. Yeah, thank you guys. Oh, and I even got Reddit gold. Like, I've never gotten that before. So until next time, happy crafting.